We are going live. Hi guys, welcome back to DeFi Daily. Today we are going to talk about a really hot topic because we have one of the founder of Metapoly, that is a project that aims to really being able to merge the power of Metaverse, NFTs, and what could be the future of DeFi 2.0. If you have any kind of problem with the stream, if you can't hear anything, just write us into the chat so we are able to know if there is any kind of problem. And as always, if you have any kind of question, feel free also to share with us what do you think, and or if you want to ask something, and we will more than welcome to answer to your question. And we can start introducing our guest. So welcome, Victor. And if you want to tell us something about you, where are you based, and what are you doing right now?
Thanks. Hey everyone, my name is Victor. I'm a crypto entrepreneur and has been in the crypto and the DeFi space for several years now. A little bit background about myself. I'm currently based in Singapore, but of course, crypto is a global movement, and just working with everyone across the world. But personally, a little bit about myself, I'm a product manager. I'm also a programmer, and I actually do technical and also do a little bit more on the marketing side and the fundraising side, business development as well. Just as any other typical co-founder and CEO, got to do everything, right? So,
and how many people are you in the team?
Currently, we actually have more than 20% team, and our tech team is actually 12%. And including all the marketing community manager, we have, I think, at least 25% right now working on the project. And of course, we have experience and more than enough sufficient experience, right, to build smart contracts, both ERC-20, ERC-721. We have deployed a very robust and proven smart contract, right, that is actually safe to use because I invest my own money into crypto. So I look at all of the codes very diligently, right? Yeah, so that is a little bit background on myself. Being in the crypto space, passionate about DeFi, really love how the DeFi metaverse and of course Web3 is going to change the world. So I believe that the community is actually at the heart of it, and that is why Metapoly idea comes into life.
And when this idea came out, I'm talking about Metapoly.
Yeah, so I'm always following the trend of what is happening, involvement, the evolve of like the smart contract movement, different layer one chains, and of course, different DeFi model, right? So the idea comes several months ago when the Metaverse space start to boom, and especially, of course, Facebook announced they're going to go Meta, and Sandbox and Decentraland are actually picking up all the traction. So that is where I found the idea. I just realized that it's a very simple idea. I realized that if this trajectory of how big organizations, big countries are going to control the metaverse in their own walled garden, then it's not Web3. Then it will not help any of the participants into the blockchain, the DeFi, the metaverse space. Because ultimately, you want to live in a land or in a space that is actually democratized and free.
So you think that the metaverse will become like another layer of the real world, something like that, and just your tool is something that will enable to, let's say, manage and to distribute the ownership of this new world that is just burning and is starting from the community and not just for starting from the government.
Yes, of course. That is actually my fundamental belief. Just one step back, I actually have the epiphany several years ago, not joking, I think more than 5 years ago, even before that whole DeFi space came along. My epiphany is very simple. In the future, I can see that people are working remotely around the world. People are living in a space that they are comfortable to be within. For example, they are living into like a Ready Player One world, right, whereby you can be whoever you want to be. You can actually live life that you wanted to be. But imagine all the rules are being set up again so that people need to follow the specific rule that is determined by the government. It doesn't make sense. that is not how the future I envision how the population and the youth to go to there to be. People want to be free. People want to live in the space that they can call on their own. And, if it's controlled by the nation and controlled by big corporates, it's not going to help. So that is how I see that the whole movement needs to come from the people. And that is why the democratization of Metaverse is actually essential for us to reach to that goal.
May I ask you something that is more a personal curiosity about how, in your opinion, this kind of metaverse will merge the reality? So how we will behave and merging these two kind of layers, because at the end, one layer is the reality where we are living right now and we are used to, and another layer is the metaverse where we can do many other stuffs and so on. And how do you think that this kind of two layer will merge together? And if there is any kind of implication or something that you want to share about your thoughts about it?
Well, I think we are already halfway there, right? So, not a joke if you think about it. We are living on our phone every day. We are living on our laptop. True. We are really locked down in our country. Some of them, of course, we are able to travel, but mostly people are just like living their life routinely. Wake up, go to work, live in front of the computer. Then they just go and do YouTube, and they go and do live stream on Twitch, and then they go and watch TikToks. Half of our time, especially for the youth, people who are like really young, who are already living online, right? We have our digital identities online. That is why we actually have our own ENS domain. We have our own,
Absolutely.
We have all of that online, right? It's just that physically we still need to live in the real world, but in our mental, in the space in our mental, we are really thinking about living in that digital world. The only thing that is, not reaching there yet, right, is actually the full immersive experience of being there. So if you ask me, that is actually where I think that gap is. I think it will evolve towards there, but it's just a start.
I understand, yes. And I also know that you have, this is not your first project when we are talking about a crypto space. Can you want to tell us something more about your previous project and how they are going and how they maybe merge on what Metapoly is aiming to do?
Yep, absolutely. So I think that is where my strength came in, right? So last year, as I mentioned just now, I actually started doing crypto for a long time. I think since 2016. I get into the crypto space 2016 when Ethereum launched their DEFCON 2 conference in Shanghai. I was there last time. Mm-hmm. Then I actually discovered smart contract and blockchain and transparency. I love the concept of it because that is the future. And I can see that crypto and blockchain, right, is going to be the space whereby the technology is going to take over like how the world works. And it's demonstrated today. A lot of application, a lot of, the financial transaction, everything happened on the blockchain. But that being said, DeFi was not really a big thing yet, right, until last year. So last year, I think around June, if I'm not mistaken, mm-hmm. I think when Compound Finance launched their yield farming program, suddenly DeFi just get all the attention and get all the volume and liquidity from the DeFi world. Right? That is the first start of the big boom of DeFi.
Yeah,
and I actually
DeFi summer of the other year. Yeah,
DeFi summer 2020.
2020.
But the thing is, I also seen the different structure, right? So during then, I actually started my first DeFi startup, right? Kind of pivot from my crypto startup to the DeFi startup, and we actually had success. So by the end of the year, we are actually accepted into an accelerator incubator in Singapore named Antler. We stayed there for like a month. We decided that the program is not suitable for us because it's not really crypto and DeFi centric. And then we came out on our own and we did some fundraising on our own beginning of the year. So essentially that startup is called DAOventures.co. It's available. It's live. The product is still there. And the startup
I will also leave, guys, all the links I will leave after the live into the description below. So if you're curious to know about also the previous project of Victor, you will be able to find all of them into the description. So feel free to have a look.
Thanks. So continuing from there, DAO Ventures essentially was an idea that about helping people to get into DeFi. Right? It's not about like giving 1 million APY. No, it's not. It's actually a platform for people to invest DeFi simply to get a sustainable return of their investment. We actually did that. So we fundraised, we did an IDO beginning of the year at Podcast Starter. We actually kept like, and in the beginning, right, our token price was doing quite well. But of course, we learned a lot from our mistakes, and that is where I bring in the value for Metapoly. So essentially what DAO Ventures does is very simple. We are actually helping people to get into DeFi investing by investing into certain narrative and certain strategies. For example, the first product that we launched is actually a crypto ETF based on a crypto weighted market index. Essentially,
it's also through the DAO Venture.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, it's the same as investing into like the S&P 500, right? So you just invest in the S&P 500, you know that it's going to outperform by holding one stock.
But it's still live, this kind of ETF.
Yes.
Okay.
So DAO Ventures, we actually have like several projects, right? Several products available in the platform. You can check it out on the website, and just to let you know, I mean, that is where the expertise comes in. Our team has built sufficiently and experienced enough right now to know what can be done and what cannot be done, and what are the mistakes that we do and we do not want to repeat it. For example, all of our strategies that we have in our platform are profitable, except one, right? And some of the profitability of the strategies goes up to like even 80%. And one of the biggest strategy that we did and most profitable is called a strategy that involves Metaverse tokens. So instead of buying one specific token and you see whether it can go up, that strategy invests for you, auto compounds for you, and yield farm for you into Metaverse related strategies, including Axie Infinity, including Ethereum, including some of the other Metaverse tokens.
But it's like creating an ETF that is based on different tokens that are part of let's say the Metaverse space.
Yes. So essentially that is that. And you'll be surprised that because we developed that strategy and launched it live, audited by a world-class auditor, Hacken, and that strategy is live since October. And that strategy had performed, I think, more than 80% at the peak. I invested in that strategy myself because, as I mentioned, right, I want to invest in something that makes money, right?
But how does it work? This is an automated strategy.
Yes.
This is okay. So it's something that is working by its own self and it's just producing yield.
Yes. So the best thing about the strategy that we build, even without our own yield farming, right, all the strategies are profitable. Of course, are we giving 1 million everyone? No, but it's really sustainable. Making 80% in 3 months. If you were to go there and ask the stock investors or the banks, they will say that you are crazy. But in the DeFi, it happens, right? So the strategies are profitable.
Yeah, it's something that many people should think about, because many times we are just focusing on offering some really insane APY, and we are thinking, oh my God, this is just offering 70,000 APY. It doesn't make any sense, guys. It's an insane amount already. And also, it was crazy. The other day, I was looking the comments of one of my videos, and one person was complaining, saying that he made just the 0.5% in 6 hours, and he was saying, "Oh my God, it's like a joke. I just put a $600 and I made I don't know $2.5 in 6 hours." And he was complaining because, in his opinion, was not enough. Guys, 0.5% in just 6 hours, something that is crazy. No other kind of tooling to the whole financial world is able to provide us this kind of APY. But the whole story to me is just to being able to really move the focus on just following the highest APY and starting to really focusing on something that could be sustainable. And that's one of the main reasons that I would love really to know. So we are trying to move this kind of strategies. You will able to use them also into Metapoly.
It's actually a mix, right? I'll continue from that involvement. So the strategies that we develop, right, is actually very profitable and it's working. Anybody can just put in the money from their MetaMask, and we do not touch the money. It's non-custodial, right? We do not touch the money ever. A lot of people think that, hey, we manage your money. Actually, we do not. All the strategies are live on the blockchain, on Ethereum blockchain, on BSC, and on Avalanche. You can just put in the money and work for you. Simple, right? But we don't touch the money. So that is the first learning. And that's the first mantra of what we do, our first manifesto. We are a DeFi platform. That's number one. And number two, how are we going to bring it to Metapoly? The flow is this. In the DeFi 2020, right, there was a previous movement, we call it as DeFi 1.0, which is why, we always say that we are DeFi 2.0 plus Metaverse, right? There's a differentiator. In the DeFi 1.0, all the liquidity that anyone put into the platform is actually rented. They call it as a renter, right? I just put it in there, I can remove anytime, right? So it's like rent. But in return, the platform will give you tokens. And one of the reasons why DAO Ventures token perform badly is because a lot of all these liquidity providers and investors who invest into our platform just take our token and just sell it because they think that, hey, I just want to make money APY. So they take our tokens and just sell it. So that is why
there are many people that are just looking for the short period, yes. And this makes quite a big problem for the protocol that's trying to work into long period because it has to, on one side, it has users that want money right now, and they're just jumping from one platform to another, just following the highest APY. And on the other side, the protocol that needs to create something valuable, but also for the long term, because if the protocol is not able to do it, it will simply fail. And that's a big problem for the team that is investing time and effort to do it.
So because of the DeFi 1.0 platform, that is where a lot of protocols actually stuck and actually have a lot of problem. I mean, DAO Ventures is also another one of it. As I mentioned, right, all of our strategies are profitable and making money. But because of the selling pressure of those people who are putting money and removed, our token prices really went down, right? We can't do anything because it's a decentralized platform. Right? We cannot take our money and put in there and buy back the token and burn it, right? Because the users will be asking you, why are you manipulating the token price, right? So we can't do that. But that is actually DeFi 1.0. Then comes the narrative of this summer 2021, that when Olympus DAO introduced a new model called DeFi 2.0. The DeFi 2.0 is the differences is that the protocol will own the liquidity of the token, which means that they will not be able to issue any token unless the treasury has the money to back it. Imagine that today I'm able to receive $1,000 worth of asset into the treasury. The treasury smart contract will mint only 1,000 worth of token. And that is actually the first part. The second part, the $1,000 could come in stablecoin, could come in terms of their own liquidity. For example, right, in Olympus DAO, the model is called OMP pairing with USDT, right? I'm not sure whether it's stablecoin, but the pair it, and then users were able to sell it back to the treasury, and then the treasury, the protocol treasury, will own that liquidity. They call it as protocol owned liquidity. And then that they will issue the OMP token. So in essence, right, whatever token is being issued by the platform is actually backed by that treasury in the sense, so the token is going to be worth something. It is actually similar to how the real world works. Not even a bank, right? The bank only need to have 10% of the profit in their account, then they can borrow up 90%, 100%, right? But for DeFi protocol, they can't do that. So the only way to do is that if you put in $1,000, then you can only give out $1,000. So people who are actually holding a token can be rest assured that the treasury have the money to back the token. And that is where the main differences is. A lot of the previous DeFi 1.0 struggle because of this, and the DeFi 2.0 is actually making a lot of progress because of this. So this is the game-changing component of the DeFi.
And in your opinion, what is the future of all of this? So let's step back and let's start saying about something about Metapoly. So it is like, so an Olympus DAO fork is starting from an Olympus DAO, and this is evolving in something else?
Yep. So continue from there. So that model works, right? Which means that I can be rest assured that if I were to invest my money into it, the protocol will have money to back my token. That's number one. But I bring it to a next level. As I mentioned, I combine the best of both ideas and put it together, which is the DeFi 2.0, the NFT, and the Metaverse. I asked myself this question: if we wanted to democratize Metaverse, right, what are the first things that I need to do? I need to make sure that all the lands are actually being backed. I cannot be just issuing token to buy somebody's asset, right, without anything. So the way to do is to use the same Olympus DAO model, but upgrade it. So we make a lot of changes, specifically to the NFTs, to the different Metaverse contracts, and then of course we tweak that the reward, the system, to ensure that the community get the most of it. And we make all these changes. So right now, Metapoly will use the same model, but with Metaverse and NFTs assets. So in the future, users can do a couple of things. First, they're able to sell their mana or sand token to the treasury, and then the treasury will own that Metaverse token, right? That's number one. Of course, some people might be saying that, hey, I'm holding a piece of land there, but I'm looking to cash out because I wanted to, make some money.
That's normal.
Yeah, no, they can sell it to our treasury, and our treasury will give them the platform token.
And how it's possible to evaluate it?
We are going to use average price of the floor price.
Okay, the average price of the floor price.
Yes. So that is the first step. And then, of course, we own our liquidity as well, so that, you know, the users who actually get a token and stake it, they'll get more in return, right, from holding the token. But you'll be asking, let's step back and ask ourselves this question. Why would people want to do that? That is actually the more important question. Because, you know, if you are just like forking Olympus down, there's no difference. That it, you know, everyone does that, right? That is not our intention. Our intention is actually to bring the working model of protocol liquidity and upgrade it to protocol on Metaverse. All the tokens that we issued are actually backed by the Metaverse land and tokens, so that all these lands and token is going to be valuable in the future. And then the token is backed by those lands, and this token is going to be valuable. Imagine ourselves living in a theoretical country, right? You wanted to use money to buy stuff, right? You need to make sure that the money that you have is not like US dollar. It's printed by somebody, some government, and claim that it's worth that much. That is why the inflation. But imagine that every currency that I use in the Metaverse, right, are backed by the land that owns by the treasury. So you will be rest assured that your token and the reserve currency that you have is actually backed by the land. So unless you were saying that, hey, the land is worthless, right? Yeah, you can try to bet against it, but that is what the land price is, right? That's why the floor price is. So that is the biggest changes. And of course, the next thing is, why would you want to do that? As we mentioned about democratization, the rich corporate giants and rich VCs, and when they come in, they're going to buy up all the lands. Make no doubt about it. If the more people are going to live onto Metaverse, you think that the Facebook is not going to come here and like take a loan like worth $1 billion and buy all the lands? They will, or they will create their own land. The question is, then how would every citizens, every average citizens, right, who are like just a normal person, able to afford to again live on a house that is not owned by them, you know, being part of the movement? It's the same thing as how the current youth in the real world are struggling to buy a house. Imagine the situation in Hong Kong. It's a real world issue. People in Hong Kong, the normal people who are salaried employee, will not be able to afford to buy any house in their lifetime because the property is priced out of them. You can be rest assured that all those rich whales and, you know, banks, right, and government and the property tycoon is going to hold it. The only way for people to actually afford something, right, is actually fractionalization and democratization of the Metaverse land. And that is what Metapoly is all about. The protocol owned asset is just how it works. But the reason why it works, right, is because the Metaverse itself, the democratization and fractionalization of the Metaverse land is actually the main core component of how it will work.
And I was also reading from the chat that someone was asking if it would be able to also be possible to stake some land in order to keep the ownership of the land, but at the same time still being able to earn some, let's say, some yield or something like that.
I think for our current version of the beta, we will not have that. We will not have that because again, that is back to the same version of like protocol only, protocol rented liquidity, right? You just put in there, you take my token, you sell it, you take back the land, and then everyone else will suffer, right? So I don't think we have that in the beginning, but we actually have a way to solve it. The way we're going to solve it is actually fractionalization. We actually spoke to one investors, my friend, right, who actually will invest into this project, who actually invested into a lot of Metaverse and NFT project. He was telling me this, you know, for normal people, you already solved the problem for normal people's affordability because of how the platform works, right? You know, with the treasury's money, you can use the treasury money to buy more lands, right? So people can. The second part where I will help people who are like, for example, Snoop Dogg or like somebody who are like holding a very piece of prime land, they were not going to sell to us because I'm holding a piece of prime land. How are we going to help them is actually we can fractionalize for them. Imagine that through our platform, because the sheer size of our community is around a few thousand users member now, our goal is to get to 100,000 users and token holders so that we have more power of the community. When we have that much of community support part of this movement, then it's very easy for people who are holding the piece of land to say that, hey, I do not want to sell, but I can fractionalize it, right? So imagine that my land is worth $10 million now. I mean, there's only one person I can sell to, which is to the VCs, right? Or to the rich guys. But what if I can actually make even more money, like rented, right? I can fractionalize through Metapoly platform. Then the Metapoly users just need to put in their deed to own part of it. And then the person who owns the land could actually get profit share, or they can actually get more return from the deed token they actually fractionalized from. So that will actually help the people who are holding the land to get some capitalization on their assets.
So the whole idea behind Metapoly is like became, let's say, a big bank liquidity for the whole metaverse space. So
Yes.
people who are owning the any kind of metaverse NFT or whatever, they will be able to, let's say, bond. It's correct as a word, okay? Yep. To bond into the platform, and being able to receive in exchange some liquidity, the token that is would be the 33D token of the
DEED token. Yeah.
The DEED token. That in this way they will be able to stay liquid. But my question is, in which way the treasury will be used, invested? It will be used in order to, or maybe you will start using the automated strategy that you were talking about previously.
So those are the plans along the way. So the first MVP, right, that we need to launch is actually the protocol own liquidity bond, protocol own metaverse. We're going to bond it, right? So we have some treasury amount and we have users, right? The users, because of the APY, they're going to be attracted. They're going to come to the platform. That is the first step. The second step is that we are going to introduce borrowing and lending. Just like any bank, right? On metaverse. How do you do it? Put in your NFTs, then you can actually start to mint a stable coin on the metaverse, which is maybe could be Meta USD, right? Does it matter? The amount?
It would be quite weird, because if you think about it, right now, we are not able to borrow any kind of NFT. It's something that is not common at this stage of DeFi.
I think it's a little bit early, right, because of the volatility of the price.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, I'm sure people is going to do that. I think people are already starting to. There's some startup are actually doing borrowing and lending for Bored Ape Yacht Club, because those NFTs are proven, right? There's actually a volume for it, but it's actually
the problem is obviously the side kind of floor price and the value that could be guaranteed, because otherwise liquidation or problem with failing the whole protocol, or be not able to repay the debt could be something that will become mainstream and the main problem of the whole story.
Yeah. So we're going to start with that, borrowing, lending. Then, of course, after that, right, we have the fractionalization on that. And then, of course, there's going to be a stable coin in the platform as well, so that people could actually stick their NFTs. They're able to borrow. I mean, those are in the future, right? We're going to do it. And, of course, the fractionalization, right, so that more people can own a metaverse land, right? So those are part of our plan.
And what could be like a proxy of a roadmap, let's say, first quarter, second quarter, next year, or whatever, just to understand everything we are talking about sounds really great, because it's really powerful, and it could be really able to, let's say, being a breakthrough in this kind of market, because it's merging everything that is quite hot and it's needed, because at the same time we have a lot of NFTs. We have seen that people are liking this kind of concept, bonding, staking, everything, and being able to earn some yield. But at the same time, it's like having a lot of islands that are not able to communicate together. So being able to merge together all of this stuff could be great. But the point is, through Metapoly, in which step we will be able to do something, and when?
Okay, so I think in the first quarter of 2022, we're going to be launching definitely our working product for our bond staking, lock staking. We actually have several staking models that we actually learn along, in my experience. So
and what will be the assets that will be supported by at this stage?
At this stage, we're going to have like several bond markets, right? The number one is actually the proven NFT projects, such as Sandbox, Decentraland. Of course, the second one is actually their platform tokens, Decentraland and the Sandbox Sand token, right? Because those tokens are actually, accepted by a lot of people.
The main ones, obviously.
Yep, the main one. And the third one is actually, of course, stablecoin. We will take some stablecoin because we need to have some liquidity.
Obviously.
And of course, the fourth one is our own liquidity, which is the DEED token pairing with ETH, DEED token pairing with, USDC. We have that as well, so that we own our liquidity. So I think those are the beginning. But along the way, right, we're going to add in more different projects depending on the community voting. I believe the right movement is this: when we have sufficient enough users, right, protocol and Metaverse protocol will actually definitely want to work with us because our community will be able to purchase their Metaverse assets at the discounted price. It's the power, right? When you have enough people, people want to work with you. And you work with you,
then the power of the community.
Yeah. So which is why it's about community. Without the community, right, the protocol doesn't mean anything. So that is the first quarter of the 2022. We're going to have that. On the second quarter, right, we need to continue to expand into more different assets class, right? We need to have you need to have more protocol. Just that two is not sufficient, right? We're going to build with some GameFi land, maybe potentially with Axie Infinity. They have lands as well. So we have to analyze, right, which is actually good and not. So those are the second one. And of course, because we already have the money in the treasury, what we can do, we actually can use the treasury's money, voted by the community, of course, to reinvest through DAO Ventures as well. DAO Ventures is proven, right? All our strategies are profitable. So invest through there into the Metaverse strategy, and then we'll make money for the treasury. So your DeFi 2.0 assets in the treasury is going to increase because we're going to have to invest, right? So that is the second thing that we do. And the third one, as I mentioned, right, most probably in the second half of 2022, is definitely going to be adding a different bond market. We could do that Olympus Pro model whereby we can actually help people to bond their assets as well. So those are example. And fractionalization. I keep on entering back to fractionalization because it's actually a need. My investor friend told me this, right? Then it's kind of like, you bring me to the understanding. A lot of people actually hold this kind of land in Decentraland or Sandbox. They are unable to cash out. They're just holding it. Hopefully, you go up in price.
And that's the main problem because there is no liquidity and so on.
So
but another question: why did you choose Ethereum as a base? Because it's based on Ethereum, this project. Oh, I'm wrong.
Well, because all the Metaverse assets are on Ethereum, that's the only answer. I mean, I like to do it on layer 2 on an Immutable X or Ethereum or even on Avalanche Network or Binance Smart Chain or even Polygon. But there's no Metaverse assets there yet. So, and everyone is still on.
At least not mature assets there for sure, yeah.
Not yet. That is where the first mover advantage comes in, right? We are the first one. So that is why we always market it as we are the world's first decentralized Metaverse land tycoon for this reason. Being the first, getting the community's trust, building based on the community's feedback and what we see the market is, right? We continue to be based on that. And then we believe that if, let's say, for example, Binance Smart Chain decided to say that CZ say that, hey, I think this project is wonderful, right? We want to incubate it in the Binance Smart Chain. Could we actually have you on board? And then we can start to build some Metaverse project into your project. I'm like, fine, great, right? That is what I want with the community.
And how it will work, the auditing, let's say, process in order to select the supported assets? It would be something that there will be a dedicated team. It was something that will delegate to the DAO, or how it will work. It will work.
I think the main decision, right, definitely going to come from both. I mean, I will not say that, it's like the team to do it or the DAO. I don't think there's any barrier. As long as you're a token holder, you can suggest it. And then if the community likes it, I'm sure that we will say, hey, we will do it, right? Because that's what the community wants, right? But we also have to be wary, right? I mean, if everything is just true on small little things, but based on voting, it's going to be too slow. We need to be the number one. So how do we do? Most probably, right, our own team, we are going to be playing a lot, all these different and Metaverse different ideas, right? We also want to partner. One of our roadmap that we actually posted out, right? We want to partner with platforms. We cannot work alone. This is not like a silo, startup, right? We are in
That's
the Metaverse.
not possible, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna work. So any platforms who actually want to partner with us, because we have the community, we have the token holders, and participation, feel free to talk to us. We really welcome it. The more network and Metaverse protocol partner with Metapoly, and the usage of DEED token increases exponentially through the network effect, then we'll win. It's the same as how BSC and Ethereum has one of the biggest market cap because there's a lot of people using it, right? So the more people use it, the higher chance of this platform is going to be sustainable for the next 20 years.
Yeah. And so the plan also in the future is to become cross-chain. It's something that it is in the plan, into the roadmap. It's something that is not so important right now. It's more about stay into Ethereum and building traction just on Ethereum. And maybe we will think about it in the next future.
Oh, definitely. I think even in the Q2, most probably will be in Q2. What do I mean by Q2 when I mentioned that? I think cross-chain, there's two different aspects to it. The first aspect is actually the token itself, right? Can DEED token be cross-chain? Of course. Wrap stake DEED token is going to be cross-chain into Polygon, into BSC, into Avalanche, into Immutable X, into layer 2, depending on the traffic, depending on the demand. Definitely it's going to be cross-chain because of the transaction fees are going to be cheaper. That's number one.
Yes. Okay.
But in terms of the bonding market and the treasury itself, right, do we need to be on a secondary chain? It's all depending on the support. Why do I say that? Because a lot of successful projects, right, like if you look at PancakeSwap on BSC, they are supported by Binance team itself. If you are just another fork, right, it's very hard. So for us, right, is actually we have to be realistic, right? We need to get a support from Avalanche Network, for example, right, to bring our platform to Avalanche. But once we have traction, then it's very easy for us to speak to them and say that, hey, Avalanche team, we really want to bring our platform because our users really want to work on your Avalanche network. Could we do that? That is what we want. The more layer one or the alternate chains, right, who actually offer support, you definitely go there because with their support, the higher chance for the platform or the project or the protocol to be successful.
That's great. So let's try to summarize what we have said. So the launch of the first beta will be in January.
Yeah, January.
And there will be like some pre-sale, some whitelisting, how it will work, the launch of the token. There is some IDO in plans or whatever. Okay.
So everything is in planning. Of course, wait for the announcement, join our link in the Discord and Twitter to follow us for more updates.
I think that you should have already all the links in the description below if you want to check them.
Yeah. So the first thing is that right now we are actually getting Christmas season. Right now we are getting a lot of people to just holiday now. But by the first week of January, we will actually start to announce the IDO for the whitelist, right? For those OGs who are already joining now. So we give them the whitelisted chance for people to participate in the IDO, initial Discord offering. And a lot of people ask me as well, hey, if I'm an American, can I participate? I would say yes. We are not selling tokens directly. How you want to actually solve this problem is actually by providing NFTs. That's what some of the other projects have done earlier this year. You just buy NFTs, right? It's representative of just an NFT. So once you get an NFT, that you follow the instruction, right? There's going to be some details given from the article. Then the whitelisted could participate in the IDO. So yes, to answer the question, for people from America, right? I mean, I'm not going to sell a token to you. I cannot, right? Because DID is not owned by me. I don't own DID. I'm just a guy who started it. But with the NFT, right, we can actually help people to get into the IDO and whitelisted, right? So that's number one. So
it will be like owning an NFT and being able to receive, let's say, a spot into the pre-sale.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something that we have seen on a couple of projects that would be quite nice, yes.
Because you buy an NFT, you're not buying token, right? Just like NFT, your own piece of stuff. Then after that, the second part is actually, we were thinking on the demand. If let's say the demand is sufficient enough in the January, we will do a fair launch. Why? Because we know that a lot of good projects actually do a fair launch on the Copper launch. It's actually a liquidity bootstrapping pool provided by Copper launch on a balancer pool, right? It's a little bit technical for people who are not in that. But essentially what it does, right, is that it will not price you out. The fair launch is going to be for 3 days. So people could buy anytime in the 3 days, depending on the gas fees. They just buy anytime. And then there's a pricing to it. And the price is actually going
decreasing, yes.
Decreasing. So it's fair launch, right? So nobody can game it and price it up, right? So
yeah, we are taking out all the bots that are just trying to manipulate the price at the beginning. It's something that is quite annoying if you are just a normal user that can use a bot. So that's quite a problem, yeah.
So that's why, but again, I will not make any immediate promises. Why? It's all depending on the community. The reason we really want to push this through is because I really would like to have the fair launch because you get more people to participate, right? But the problem is that we need to have enough demand. If it's only like, oh, only 100 people want to buy, yeah, maybe the demand is not enough. So we have to gauge the demand. But that will happen in January too, if it happen. Why? Because our official launch on the project is depending on whether we're going to have the fair launch. Because I cannot be launching first, then after that I have the fair launch, right? It doesn't make
any sense, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. You have to fair launch first, then you go and launch at the officially launch, right? So if we do that, most probably, definitely going to launch it. In regardless, right, we want to be fast in the market. We definitely will launch in the January itself, depending on the middle of January or end of January, depending on the community.
The precise date will be sure later, so.
Yeah, follow us for more details.
According the news, the market conditions, and whatever.
Yes. Then after that, once you officially launch, then we got to introduce some innovations to it, right? As I mentioned, the first one that we're going to introduce based on what we've learned so far on the market right now, on the DAOs, right, and the rebasing token, the first thing we're going to introduce is actually lock staking. It's one innovation. Because a lot of people, like normal users like myself, right, when I invest into a protocol, I see the APY is very high. I'm also worried, right, that what if there's a whale who get all this token and dump on me? Well, I mean, how we introduce that? We're going to introduce lock staking. If you want to have flexible staking, you get lesser APY. Lock staking, you get higher APY. But lock staking,
what will be the ratio, just to have an understanding of how it will work?
Okay, so this is based on all these learnings that I have from DAO Ventures, right? That is where the experience comes in. In the flexible staking, right, it's just very simple. Put in there 3-3, you don't sell, I don't sell any APY, but there's going to be a penalty for early withdrawal. So simple stuff. Then the penalty is going to go to to the DAO, to the community, right? But the lock staking is something very just an upgrade, very simple. It's going to be a 30 days lock. That's my planning. Of course, the final details is yet to be determined because it's not launched yet. But lock staking is like essentially you can lock for 30 days. You cannot remove the capital, but you can actually call for the yield. Imagine that you were to put money in a protocol, you cannot remove the capital, but you can get the interest. So your capital is going to be locked for 30 days, right? You can get the interest. So essentially what happens is that anybody who deposits in there, they cannot take everything out and dump to the market. So nobody will suffer. So they only can call the yield, essentially, is a passive income. Imagine you put $1,000, you get the rebasing token and APY, you get $50 a day. And then $50 a day, you can take it out, the $1,000 stay there, so that nobody can withdraw everything and sell. So you create a very stable, nice, token price. So that is what we want for the community.
So the real challenge is to be able to create value each month, increasing the value each month in order to keep higher the value of the token. And even if your user have received some kind of, let's say, passive income, but at the same time, the platform has increased in value and being able to deliver something more, you will be incentivized not just to dump your tokens, your rewards, but to keep them inside the platform.
It's very simple. I actually ask myself this question, right? If I see, let's say, for example, ask ourselves this question. If you see somebody put like 50% of their money into lock staking, well, it's less 50% chance of people dumping it, right? So that's really the first motivation.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. The second one, of course, is still up to the protocol that we need to partner with a lot of platforms. We need to expand on the market, right? We cannot be just targeting on like specific tokens. We need to add more. For example, right, we are thinking about, crypto voxel. We are thinking about like adding more different liquidity, pairing with other stable coins so that we can get more liquidity, right? The more liquidity we have, the easier for the treasury to make money. I mean, you make more money, then it's very easy to sustain the APY. When you sustain the APY, then everyone like, hey, I don't mind locking it, right? Because I feel that I can make more money.
And I'm keeping a question from the chat. They are asking, but after 30 days, most will dump. How we can manage it?
Yeah, we have to tell people that don't dump. That's always the case, right? Yeah, I can't control the market, right? So the only thing is that I can just prevent people from like motivated.
That's clear. Yeah. But the whole story is like we can't just block the volatility. We can't delete it. It's just part of the game. The story is still having a protocol that is able to deliver more value, because the whole story, I don't know what is your idea about DAOs, because we were chatting a lot before starting the live, and we are trying to figure it out what kind of future all the DAOs will have, because many people are just starting to think that the game has just ended and the DAOs are dead. I don't know what is your opinion. How do you think that in the future this kind of model, let's call it into this way, will evolve?
I think it's more about, nobody knows which experiment is going to succeed, right? I mean, let's face it, I'm not going to hear to promise the world that, we are going to be the next Facebook, right? We do not know, right? We can try.
Nobody knows. That's not the point.
Yeah,
I think that everyone that has made just a little bit of investment or had a startup or a company knows that 95% of the companies will fail in the first, let's say, couple of years. That's part of the game. It's not a matter of crypto space. It's just a matter of how the market works. We can just try to make our best in order to succeed, but after that, the market will tell us the truth.
But we have two things, right, that is differentiated. The first thing, I'm doxing. Put it this way, right? The reason why I'm here in the video today is because I'm really doxing myself. I'm not like some anonymous project like
I love it. I love it because
Yeah.
most of the time I just a pseudo-anonymous team, and it's quite difficult to build a trust, to trust someone that you don't know, that is not really able to put his face. You don't know his track record and so on. Especially if you are thinking to the long term.
Yeah.
If I want to invest money, and if you are asking me not to dump your rewards, okay, but why I have not to dump your rewards if I don't even know who you are and what is your plan?
Yeah. So there are two things, right, that I really want to clarify and make sure that I'm expressing it. Look at my my face and body language. The first thing is that I've learned so much from my experience with DAO Ventures. Look at our Discord and our Telegram group today. Despite the token price, right, our strategies and our performance of the strategies are still profitable, and I'm still around, right? I'm not here to say that, hey, I'm not around anymore. I'm there, right? So, and the team is still committed to work on it. It's just that we need to go with the market. Right now, it's Metaverse and DeFi 2.0. We have to make sure that we make some money as well, right? So it's a startup thing. The second thing is that this is the challenge that I will throw it out to like the community, people who are like, asking the question, hey, after 30 days, people were done. Of course, I cannot stop that. Ask ourselves this question: why the rush? The metaverse just started. Metaverse is not going to be here for the next 6 months, right? And say, oh, let's go to Metaverse 2.0. You think Facebook and the rest of the people who are invested billions into this, aiming to make another billion and disappear? Metaverse is going to be here for the next 50 years.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning. Metaverse, DeFi, all the finance system will change everything. And that's just, we are just, at day zero, not even day one.
Yeah.
So we are talking about a so small market, it's like nothing.
I ask myself this question, ask ourselves this question, really ask ourselves this question. You sell, where do you want to move to? Bitcoin, Ethereum, yeah, you can. You can take some profit, right? I'm not saying you can't. But why you want to dump everything while Metaverse is going to be the future? Remember this, DEED token, the token itself, the DEED token, is not a minted token of thin air. I cannot mint it. Can it be done by Treasury? As long as people believe that Metaverse is the future, they take some profit, fine, right? Everyone wants to do that because they want to diversify their portfolio. It's okay. But if you take it away, then where you want to put your money? Put another rug pull project, great. If you want to get a billion APY, fine, right? But having a stake into a protocol that will grow naturally because it's Metaverse and the token is backed by the Treasury, again, backed by something, it's not backed by zero, what is the rush to sell? Just put it in there, it will make money for you. And the last part that I did not mention in the chat just now was actually one of the key point that we miss in DAO Ventures is this. We work in silo. Right now, I decided to go the other way. I open it up. Anybody want to participate in the DAO and community, go ahead. I will go in, right? That is where my mantra comes from. We wanted to be the unifying, decentralized Metaverse reserve currency. Just like US dollar in the real world, but this is DEED token on the Metaverse. Imagine that if anybody could hold a token, could jump from Decentraland to be used on Sandbox, to be used on Crypto Voxel, and the exchange rate is the same, and they're owning assets into this different platform just by one currency. Isn't that the dream? And like, that's what the reserve currency is about. That is what we are trying to achieve. It's just not like, hey, we are on Ethereum, we want to get this money, get the APY. Those are short-term stuff, right? The long-term stuff is that we want to be the unifying, decentralized Metaverse reserve currency. Just like how US dollar in the real world, we want to be at the reserve currency in the Metaverse. And that will not happen because of me. No, it is actually
the whole market will grow and the community will keep the project up. That's normal. And someone is asking how it will be the APY after 30 days, if you have already an idea or if you want to share it.
Okay, this is a little bit technical, but I can give an example. We are going to be more aggressive than Olympus DAO, just to let you know. Why? We actually calculated and look at how Olympus DAO calculate their reward rate, how they calculate the APY. Different protocols have different way of calculating it, but Hector DAO, another fork, is using 0.6% as the reward rate. Time Wonderland is giving 0.475. And then I think Olympus DAO is giving 0.3. is lesser, right? Because they are big now. They cannot give out too high. We are giving 0.6, which is the similar method for HectorDAO, with one differentiation. Olympus DAO, when they mint the token, one of the equal percentages that's given to the user is also given to the DAO. If you look at how Olympus DAO's DAO treasury wallet, you can see that they are very rich, because not only the protocol will make money, but the token is minted, right, is given to the DAO. So DAO will have money. But we do it the other way.
So it's like the 0.6% will given to the DAO and also to the user, or it will split it in half?
It will split to half.
Okay, so it would be 0.3, 0.3.
Something like that. But you have to look at
obviously.
But that's how they do it. Then I asked myself this question. I'm not in a rush to make so much money. You know, the DAO is there, right? But why the hell do I want the DAO to make so much money? So I decided and told my developers, let's remove the DAO profit. I don't want the DAO to make any money. I want all the money to be given to the stakers. So naturally, the staking APY is going to be higher. Why? Because the DAO is not making money. So all the money is going to be channeled to the APY, right? So channeled to the stakers, so stakers will get more. So the benefit of that is that our APY is going to be very competitive. So the same as HectorDAO, very competitive, but it's not a billion. I cannot promise that. If I give that right,
personally, I don't love that kind of, okay, it's fun. It's fun. I love to see IceDAO or Google Galaxy or whatever offering this monster, just because it's nice to not being able even to read the kind of number, because it's so long.
It's too
but
crazy.
At the end of the game, guys, it doesn't make any sense joining that kind of DAO. Yeah. Yes, if you come inside the day 4, the day 1, and you are living a day 3, that's great, because you are doing a ton of money. Otherwise, you are simply playing with fire without any kind of that's so unpredictable. It's so difficult to make money that way. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
They'll lose a lot
most
money
of the time. Yeah. But as I'm saying many times, the main problem is not even being the rug pulled, because the main problem is that the APY and the volatility is so high that it's impossible to build any kind of strategy with a so high APY, with a so unpredictable kind of APY and price into the market. That's how you can invest. That's not investing, just more gambling. Yeah. Funny because it's fun, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, again, right, I have to say that out, right? I put my face out, right, to the world, right, because I really believe in this, and I really want to try to make it work. And I think that I have the experience, as I mentioned right now, to make it work. And then second one, right, I already know I've learned my mistakes, and I know what is actually the one that is required. And in terms of the APY, as I mentioned just now, I really look at the code. I go through with my developers line by line, right, and say that, hey, what is this functionality? What does it do? I really look at that, right, at the code level. Then I realize we do not need to make money at the DAO, because the DAO is just to show that you have money. For me,
yeah, that's clear. In this moment, it's more important to attract users than just making the DAO rich. That's absolutely the point.
It's the same as any other startup, right? You take this money.
You have to create value for the user, because you need a community that should be strong in order to grow for the future. Anyway, guys, we are going to the end of this stream. If you have any kind of question, please feel free to do it. We will take a couple of questions if there are some. And before to close, if you have any final thoughts, I'm reading that someone is asking what is the difference between other DAO, like for example, Wonderland.
Different DAO have a different way of doing things in different chain, but we are really focusing on Metaverse, right? So our narrative is always about Metaverse, right?
So it's not like a fundraising platform like should be a Wonderland money, but it's more like giving the opportunity to people who own NFTs or Metaverse tokens to being able to bond to participate directly to the DAO. So
yes,
it's another way to integrate NFTs and Metaverse than just what is doing Wonderland. That's clear. That's clear. If you have a final thought, and before that, we just before to close, if anyone else has any other question,
if there's any question, feel free to ask. I'll answer it.
Wonderland time also gave it there. So the main question is, will your DAO sustain like the 0.6 range?
I think we will start with 0.6, but we have to be flexible, right? Like for example, if the APY is going to be too crazy, we have to reduce it. It's all flexible. It's a number, right? So we have to be flexible in that, but we're going to start with 0.6 and see the demand. If the demand is really strong, okay, maybe we can, slightly reduce it so that we can have more people enjoy it, right? But at the end of the day, it's about sustainability. I don't want to have a platform run out of money in 2 weeks, right?
That's absolutely, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, no sense. So how you will make money? What is the plan for gaining profit?
Okay, great question. So the protocol to make money, right, is actually from the fees itself. Right now it's 0 fees, but in the future, right, I'm going to show that we're going to introduce some sort of fees, right, for people who want to bond, there's some fees. And then of course, we are actually going to fractionalize. Remember we mentioned about fractionalize? Mm-hmm. We're going to help somebody to fractionalize their asset. Can we take a fees from them? Of course. They want to cash out, they want to sell their asset. Yeah, we take a fees. We are like an intermediary platform. You sell to our platform, we take some commission from the selling so that our user will be able to participate, right? So those are the ways we make money.
Right. And another question is, what is the best way to stay aware of current news and updates?
Thank you very much. Follow us on our website. You have all the Discord link, the Twitter link. And remember, please, we have not minted any contract yet. So if somebody will tell you that we have a contract, it's fake, please follow the instructions at our Twitter and our Discord. Do not ever be greedy and say that somebody launched first and put in your money. You do not want to get hacked, right?
Yes, stay aware of that because there are many hacks, many scams outside. That's quite crazy. You are just opening a Telegram chat and you are funding out, let's say, 10 clone or something like that. So that's insane. And also on Discord, many people are just contacting you, pretending that they are just launched and whatever. Just stay aware of it and keep track. If you want to invest in anything, it's better just to, let's say, spend at least a couple of minutes to check everything before doing anything. And obviously, the best way is always looking at the Discord, Twitter account, or whatever is the official channel that it's part of that kind of tool or protocol. How is the land value? These signs are actually a low liquidity asset. It should give less, right? They are asking about the fair floor price that we were the floor price that we were talking about.
We're going to start with we are going to start with something simple with using floor price first. But floor price is floor price, right? I mean, if they want to manipulate the price, by all means, right? But we are not a trading platform, so that it should be okay. But long-term wise, we need to improve on it for sure. So if somebody want to participate and help us to do that, so please feel free to join us. But in the long-term wise, definitely we need to have an average. That's why I use the model, right? TWAP average price, right? It's the same as how Uniswap does it. There's a TWAP average price on the floor price to ensure the price is competitive, it's not manipulative. That's number one. And number two, again, as I mentioned, this is just on floor price, right? There's a lot of assets that are above floor price, right? Because of the location and stuff. Those are the ones we will need to use fractionalization.
Great. I think that we have answered. Was there a seed? There is not still a seed private round. There will be let's say an IDO and a fair launch in the next future in January. Follow the news on Discord mainly in order to have all the information about it. And I think that we can close with one final thought about you. If you want to share something and tell us what is unique about Metapoly and what kind of value we can expect, just in a minute, just to compress everything we have said until now.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I know that's a big challenge, but
it's good. It's a good challenge. But I would just go back to that. Let's 3 points, right? Let's do 3 points. The first point is Metapoly is the world's first decentralized metaverse land tycoon, right? And DIT is going to be the decentralized reserve currency. So we are in the day one, right? Day zero. So remember why we are doing this. We are not doing this just because we want to make quick money. No, we are here because we believe that if we want to make a change in the real world, in the way that we organize as a community, that is how we do it, right? The second part, which is the community. The community, that's what I've learned in my years of doing DeFi. If I want to do it, I need to do it with the community. Be rest assured, I put my face out here, my body language, just to say that I'm really sincere. I really want to be successful with this together with the communities. not here because of rug pull. Of course, will I make money in the future if I'm successful? Yes. But am I going to do it just because of myself? No, that is not the reason why I do this. That's not why Web3 works. That is my fundamental belief. And the third, stay tuned, universe, right? We are humans as well. I'm learning every day, talking to different people. When I look at the comments of Twitter, I really love it. People understand what we're trying to do. So just follow us, right? This is just a start to this movement. And I believe that if we do it right, we have a chance to succeed, to actually go on par to help more people so that they can actually own something in the metaverse. I personally, I cannot afford to own a land in Decentraland. It's too expensive for me.
Too expensive, I know that. They are skyrocketing on the price. That's insane. What are the actual price right now?
You cannot. But imagine I'm able to own a piece of land with the community. And next time we can build a bar in the community. I'm like, hey, we can hang out there, just have a chat. Like, fine, that is what we want, right? In real life, and we can do a metaverse. Why not, right?
That's true. Thank you, Victor. And thank you guys for following this live. And I want to just closing with a final thought by me. I really suggest you, I don't know if you like Metapoly or whatever, I truly believe that this kind of concept, it could be powerful because as I said many times, when we are talking about DAOs, we are not just talking about speculation. We are talking about a tool that if it is applied in a correct way, it's for real able to create value and use cases for the whole DeFi system. Because one of the main problems to the DeFi is liquidity. If you don't have liquidity, if you are not able to cash out and everything, that's the main problem. You have just numbers in our protocol that we are not able to do anything with them. So the whole concept is really being able to use a protocol or having different tools that are for real able to deliver and enable us to be liquid on the market. And that's one of the reasons because I truly love what Metapoly is doing, and I hope the best for you because yes, the crypto space really needs something also for the metaverse and NFT space to being able to offer liquidity and being able to create value and really merging all the trends that are coming out right now. Because yes, if we are able to make everything together, that's much more powerful than just having different islands isolated from each other.
DeFi 2.0, Metaverse, NFT, Metapoly.
Metapoly. Thank you, Victor, and thank you guys for following us. And if you have any other kind of question, you can ask into the comments below, or you can join their Discord in order to have all the information that you need. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
It's a nice, very, very productive,